All right, let's dive into some gorgeous Greek islands, but on a budget, right? We're thinking whitewashed villages, that turquoise water, amazing food, but, without the luxury price tag.
Exactly. Well, that's the dream, isn't it? And the good news is it's totally possible.
Okay, good. So how do we make that happen?
Well, we've got 12 destinations, all handpicked for this deep dive, not just because they're affordable, but each one's got something unique to offer.
So it's not just about, like, bare bones backpacking. It's about smart choices.
Exactly. Think like getting that real Greek island experience, but, without breaking the bank.
I like it. So where'd this list come from? How do we know these places are budget-friendly?
Our source breaks down the average cost for, the essentials, accommodation, food, local transport, so you have a realistic idea before you even book your flight.
Okay, that's super helpful. So where do we start this island hopping adventure?
Let's kick things off in Chernia on the island of Crete. We're looking at about $126 per day there.
$126 a day. All right, what makes Chania so special for that price? Sell me on it.
Chania is a fantastic mix of history and like bustling life. You've got the Venetian harbor with these colorful buildings, a lighthouse from the 16th century, and it's all buzzing with activity.
Okay, I'm picturing it now, those little alleyways, shops. But I'm also a history nerd, gotta be honest. What about something for that side of me?
Oh, you're in luck. The Chania Archaeological Museum is a must-see. It'll only set you back €4, and you can see artifacts from Neolithic times all the way to Roman rule.
Okay, that's going straight on the itinerary. Now, no trip's complete without good food, right? Any recommendations in Chania?
Absolutely. Salis Restaurant is getting rave reviews. They're all about Cretan cuisine, but with a modern twist, so you're getting those traditional flavors, but, with a bit of a culinary adventure.
Modern Cretan cuisine. I'm intrigued. All right, now, I know some islands have that reputation for being, well, a little pricey. What about Corfu? Can you do Corfu without, spending a fortune?
Corfu is a bit more, let's say, upscale than China. You're looking at around $147 per day. But to put that into perspective, you're still saving almost $150 compared to Mykonos.
Okay, so I'm getting Mykonos vibes without the Mykonos price tag. I'm listening. What kind of experience are we talking about in Corfu?
Corfu town is a must-visit. Gorgeous Venetian architecture, the old fortress, it's all very lively and charming. And the beaches, incredible. Agiatriata, Paleokastritsa, Glyfada, each one's unique.
Beaches, check. But since we're all about budget travel here, what about free things to do in Corfu?
Oh, there's this great spot called Canoni Viewpoint. Free, fantastic panoramic views of Mouse Island. Super picturesque. Perfect for those, vacation photos.
Gotta get that Instagram content. Okay, what about just soaking up the local atmosphere? Where should I be hanging out in Corfu?
You can't go wrong with Cafe Liston near Spiata Square. It's a classic, perfect for people watching, maybe sipping some traditional Greek coffee.
Sounds like my kind of place. All right, next island on the list. What about Rhodes? It's one of the bigger ones, right? So I'm curious, how does it compare on the affordability scale?
Rhodes is actually surprisingly budget-friendly. You're looking at a range somewhere between $100 to $150 per day, which is pretty impressive considering its size and how much variety it has.
Okay, so variety is the key word here. What makes Rhodes stand out from, say, Chania or Corfu? What's its unique selling point?
Rhodes has this amazing blend of, well, ancient history and modern life. You've got beaches like Pefki and Eli that are incredible, but then there's also Rhodes Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And if you're into activities, there's sailing, windsurfing, even a water park.
UNESCO site and a water park. That's quite the range. Tell me more about this old town, though. What makes it so special?
It's a medieval city, still partially enclosed by its original walls, cobblestone streets, ancient mosques, and synagogues. It's like stepping back in time.
Wow. Okay, that's going on the list. And what about other historical things to do in Rhodes? Anything else that's a must-see?
Oh, for a real wow experience, you got to visit the Palace of the Grand Master. It's a medieval castle. It was the HQ of the Knights Hospitaller back in the day. And it's only €4 to enter.
€4. All right, that's a steal. I'm there. Now, I'm always looking for those charming little towns when I travel. Any hidden gems on Rhodes that fit the bill?
You've got to check out Lindos Village. It's on a hilltop overlooking the sea, whitewashed houses, narrow streets, amazing views. And they even have donkeys you can ride up to the Acropolis.
Donkeys. Okay, I'm sold. And I'm guessing there's got to be some good food in Lindos, right?
Absolutely. Mavrikos Restaurant is legendary for its fresh seafood and traditional Gwink dishes. Right on the waterfront, too, so you can enjoy your meal with those harbor views. Just make sure to book a reservation. It gets busy.
Got it. Reservations at Mavrikos. Check. All right, let's switch gears a bit. What about something a little more romantic? What about Hydra? I've heard it's car-free, which sounds, well, incredibly peaceful.
Hydra's all about tranquility and charm, yeah. No cars allowed on the island, so it's incredibly peaceful, just strolling along the harbor, exploring those cobblestone streets. It's a slower pace of life.
Slower pace of life. I like the sound of that. How affordable are we talking for Hydra?
Hydra is a little pricier than some of the other islands we've mentioned, but you can still find good deals, especially if you travel during the shoulder seasons. On average, you're looking at about $130 per day.
Okay, $130 a day for a car-free escape. Not bad. What else makes Hydra unique besides the no cars thing?
That absence of cars really creates a special atmosphere. People get around on foot, by donkey, or by water taxi. It's a throwback, and it really makes you connect with the island's natural beauty.
So picture this, me and my partner strolling hand in hand, maybe taking a donkey ride. Are there any beaches on Hydra that are particularly, let's say, romantic?
Fly Coast Beach is a great option. It's small, secluded, just a short boat ride from Hydra Town. Crystal clear water, very peaceful.
Perfect. And for a romantic dinner spot?
You can't beat Sunset Restaurant. It's on a cliff top overlooking the harbor, and the views are just, wow, breathtaking. Fresh seafood, Greek cuisine, amazing service.
Sunset Restaurant with a view. Okay, that's going on the list. Now, after all that romance, I'm ready for something a little more laid back. What about Paros?
Paros is a great choice for that. It's more relaxed, authentic. It hasn't been totally discovered by mass tourism, so you really get that authentic Greek island experience.
Okay, authentic is good. What about prices on Paros?
Very affordable, especially for budget travelers. We're talking under $100 per night for accommodation, and meals are very reasonable, too. You could easily do Paros on less than $100 a day and have a fantastic time.
Less than $100 a day. Okay, Paris is moving up on my list. So what is there to do on Paros?
Oh, all sorts of things. If you're a nature lover, you have to see Paros Park. It's a protected area with hiking trails, beautiful views. They even have a butterfly sanctuary.
Butterfly sanctuary. Okay, that's adorable. I'm in. What about beaches on Paros?
Kalimbathris Beach is one of the most popular. It's known for these unique rock formations. And, of course, the crystal clear water. Just make sure you get there early. It can get crowded, especially during peak season.
Good tip. What's so special about the rock formations there?
They're smooth granite boulders sculpted by, the wind and waves over centuries. They create all these little coves and inlets, like having your own private beach.
Oh, wow. I can picture it now. Sounds amazing. And how do I get around on Paros?
Renting a scooter is the way to go. You can explore the island at your own pace, and it's super affordable, usually around like 15, 20 euros a day.
Scootering around Paros. I like it. Any other must-see attractions?
The Archaeological Museum of Paros is worth a visit. It's small but really well done, and you can learn about the island's history from ancient times to the Byzantine era. Plus, it's only 2 euros to get in.
2 euros. Bargain. Okay, now, for those of us who want a mix of city life and beach time, what about Nafleon? It's on the mainland, right?
Yeah, Nafleon is a beautiful seaside town on the Peloponnese Peninsula. Charming old town, Venetian fortress, amazing views of the Argolic Gulf.
Okay, charming streets, great views. What about beaches?
Paralar Venetius is a good choice. It's small, just a short walk from the town center. Crystal clear water, very relaxed. The only thing is it's quite small, and there aren't really any facilities, so bring your own drinks and snacks.
Good to know. Small beach, big beauty, pack my own snacks. What about historical things in Nafleon? Anything really stand out?
The Fortress of Palamidi is a must-see. It's a Venetian fortress up on a hilltop overlooking the town. The views from there are just breathtaking.
Hilltop Fortress, amazing views. How do I get up there?
You can hike it, takes about 30 minutes, good exercise, or if you prefer, you can drive up for 8 euros.
Opens. I like it. Now, I've heard so much about Santorini, but I'm looking for something a little less, crowded and hopefully a little less expensive. What about Ios?
Ios is a great alternative to Santorini. It's still got those classic Cycladic island vibes, whitewashed villages, blue dome churches, beautiful beaches, but without the crowds and, the sky-high prices.
Okay, less crowds, lower prices. I'm interested. How do the costs compare to Santorini specifically?
You can expect to pay about half as much for accommodation and food on Ios compared to Santorini. On average, we're talking around $125 per day.
Wow, half the price. All right, tell me about the highlights of Ios. What shouldn't I miss?
Well, if you want a lively beach scene, Brolia Milopotis is the place to be. It's a long, sandy beach, lots of beach bars, restaurants, water sports.
Lively beach scene, got it. But what if I'm looking for something a little more off the beaten path?
Maganani Beach is a great option then. It's secluded on the south coast of the island. Crystal clear water, very relaxed atmosphere. You can get there by bus or scooter or even take a boat trip from the port.
Secluded beach? Sound good. Now for the history buff in me, anything historical to see on Ios?
You've got to check out the Tomb of Homer. It's on a hilltop overlooking the sea. And while nobody knows for sure if it's actually his tomb, it's a place steeped in history and legend. Plus, it's free to visit.
Free history, I'm there. All right, next island on our list. What about Kefalonia? What's the deal there?
Kefalonia is beautiful, really diverse landscapes, stunning beaches, mountains, forests, charming villages. It's great if you want to experience a bit of everything.
A bit of everything, I like that. What about the cost of traveling in Kefalonia?
Very affordable, especially if you're okay with apartments or guest houses instead of hotels. You can find places for under $70 a night, and meals are very reasonably priced too.
Under $70 a night. Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more about what makes Kefalonia special.
The beaches are incredible. Murdo's Beach is like world famous, considered one of those beautiful in Greece. It's a must-see, but be prepared for crowds, especially in peak season.
Murdo's Beach, check. And any other must-see spots? Villages, towns, anything like that?
Astos is a charming village on a peninsula. Colorful houses, narrow streets, a beautiful Venetian castle. Great place to wander around and just soak up the atmosphere.
Charming village, Venetian castle. Sounds right up my alley. What about Argostoli? That's the capital, right?
Yep, Argostoli is lively, beautiful waterfront promenade. You can watch the fishing boats come in, have a coffee at one of the cafes. It's a nice place to just relax.
I like it. Now, I'm always a sucker for caves and those unique natural formations. Anything like that on Kefalonia?
Oh, absolutely. Molisani Cave is a must-see. It's an underground lake with crystal clear water, and you can take a boat trip through the cave. It's magical.
Boat trip through a cave. Okay, I'm sold. All right, let's keep this island hopping going. What about Foligandros? Tell me about that one.
Foligandros is, well, a lot of people say it's like what Santorini used to be like before it got so popular. Quiet, unspoiled, incredible beaches, charming villages.
A step back in time, huh? I like it. What about costs on Foligandros?
Super affordable, especially if you're willing to stay in, more basic accommodation. You can find rooms for under $70 a night, and the food's really reasonably priced. You could easily do Foligandros on less than $100 a day.
Under $100 a day for an unspoiled island. Sign me up. All right, give me the highlights. What should I see and do in Foligandros?
The main town, Chora, is perched on a clifftop. Stunning views of the Aegean Sea. Whitewashed houses, narrow streets, and there's a lovely main square where you can enjoy a coffee or a meal.
Clifftop town, stunning views. I'm getting the picture. What about beaches in Foligandros?
Agali Beach is one of the most popular. It's long, sandy, crystal clear water, and there are a few tavernas right there where you can grab a bite to eat or a drink.
Perfect. Any other must-see spots on the island?
For an unforgettable experience, head up to the Church of Panagia for sunset. It's on the highest point of the island, and the views are just incredible.
Church of Panagia's sunset views? Okay, I'm making notes. And what about food recommendations on Foligandros? Anywhere specific I should try?
Paunta in Chora is great for authentic Greek food, and it's reasonably priced. They focus on traditional dishes, using local ingredients, very welcoming atmosphere.
Paunta, traditional Greek food, check. All right, next island up. What's the vibe in Tinos?
Tinos is a bit of a hidden gem. Beautiful beaches, charming villages, but also these important religious sites. It's very laid back, very affordable. Perfect for budget travelers.
Laid back and affordable. I'm liking it more and more. What about accommodation costs on Tinos?
You can find rooms for around $60 a night, which is great for a Greek island. And with meals costing around 10–15 euros, you could easily do Tinos on less than $120 today.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, sell me on Tinos. What makes it special?
Well, for one thing, it's a very spiritual island. The Church of Panagia Evangelistria is one of the most important pilgrimage sites in all of Greece.
Oh, interesting. Okay, tell me more about that.
It's said to be home to a miraculous icon of the Virgin Mary, and thousands of pilgrims visit every year. It's a big deal.
So Tinos has this spiritual side. What about beaches? Any good ones?
Hagios Focus Beach is a great choice. It's long, sandy, just a short walk from the town of Tinos. Plus, you can find free sunbeds at some parts of the beach if you buy a drink from a nearby bar.
Free sunbeds. I'm listening. Okay, besides the beaches and the religion sites, what else is there to see and do?
Tinos Old Town is really charming, great for wandering around, narrow streets, whitewashed houses, traditional cafes, and for incredible views, climb the hill near the Church of Panagia Evangelistria. It's worth it.
Okay, Tinos Old Town and panoramic views. Got it. All right, next stop on our island tour. What about Ivia? I know it's one of the largest Greek islands, but how does it compare to the others in terms of, affordability?
Ivia is fantastic for budget travelers. It's much less expensive than some of those more popular islands, and you could have a great holiday there for between $100 and $130 per day, easily.
All right, Ivia, the budget-friendly giant. What else makes it stand out? Why should I go to Ivia?
It's incredibly diverse. You want beaches? It's got them. Mountains? Check. Thermal springs, ancient ruins. Ivia's got a bit of everything.
Sounds like it. All right, tell me about some of the highlights. What shouldn't I miss in Ivia?
If you're a beach person, Chilidu Beach is amazing. Beautiful beach, dramatic cliffs, crystal clear water. And for something a little different, Lake Indonesia is an archipelago of small islands, sometimes called the Seychelles of Greece.
The Seychelles of Greece. Okay, now you're talking. And what about for those of us who aren't so beach-focused?
For a taste of history, visit the medieval castle town of Charistos. It's perched on a hilltop with stunning views of the Aegean. And if you're looking for something more relaxing, try the thermal springs at Adixos.
Thermal springs. I can feel myself relaxing already. What about transportation in Evia? How do you get around?
Renting a car is the best way to explore the island. Lots of local rental companies, and you can usually get a better price than with the big international brands.
Good tip. Okay, last island on our list, but certainly not least. What's special about Lefkada?
Lefkada is unique because it's the only Greek island connected to the mainland by a causeway. So you can just drive there, no ferry needed.
Oh, wow, no ferry. That's a game changer. And how about prices on Lefkada?
Very affordable, average daily costs around $120. You can find some good deals on accommodation, especially if you're happy to stay in apartments or guest houses.
$120 a day and easy access. I like it. What are some must-see spots on Lefkada? What can't I miss?
Lefkada is famous for its beaches, especially Porto Katiki and Igremni. They're constantly ranked among the best beaches in Europe. But fair warning, there's a bit of a hike to get down to the sand.
Okay, I'm up for the challenge. What makes these beaches so special?
Well, Porto Katiki is surrounded by these towering white cliffs, and the water is an incredible shade of turquoise, and Igremni is even more secluded and dramatic. But you do have to descend over 400 steps to get there.
400 steps. Okay, maybe I'll skip egg day at the gym before that one, but I'm guessing the view is worth it, right?
Oh, absolutely worth it. And if you're not feeling the hike, you can always take a boat trip from Vasiliki. You get amazing views of the coastline that way, too.
Boat trip it is. Now, for accommodations, where do you recommend staying in Lefkada?
Vasiliki is a popular choice. It's a really charming town with a beautiful harbor, lots of restaurants and shops. Or if you want something a bit livelier, Lefkada town is good. It's got a bit more of a, well, cosmopolitan vibe, more options for nightlife and things like that.
Okay, Vasiliki for charm, Lefkada town for a bit more action. Got it. Any other must-do activities on Lefkada before we move on?
Lefkada is amazing for water sports, especially windsurfing and kite surfing. The winds around Vasiliki are perfect for that, and there are tons of schools and rental shops if you want to give it a try.
Okay, windsurfing in Vasiliki, noted. And now we've talked about these individual islands, but our source also mentions some broader Greek travel experiences. What about exploring the south coast of Crete?
The south coast of Crete is a fantastic idea. It's a completely different vibe from, say, Chania, which we talked about earlier. Wilder, more rugged, less developed.
So we're talking untouched beauty, off the beaten path kind of thing.
Exactly. And often that translates to, more affordable options. You're not paying for fancy resorts, you're paying for the experience itself.
I like that. All right, what are some must-see spots on the south coast? Any beaches that really stand out?
Priveli Beach is a must-see. Imagine a palm forest that goes right down to the sand with a freshwater river flowing into the sea. It's like something out of a movie.
Okay, Priveli Beach. Wow. That's going on the bucket list. But I'm also imagining, tons of people. Can you find any peace and quiet on the south coast?
Oh, absolutely. Because it's less developed, a lot of the beaches are more secluded, less crowded. You just have to know where to look.
All right, I'm all ears. Give me those hidden gem beaches.
If you want a more secluded experience, check out Triopetra Beach. It's named for the 3 big rocks that stick out of the sea, and it's known for its crystal clear water and soft sand.
Triopetra Beach, secluded and scenic. Got it. Now, we can't talk about Crete without those pink sand beaches, right? What's the deal with Elefantisi?
Elefantisi Beach is truly unique. Yeah, the pink sand comes from tiny little pieces of shells and coral. It's a protected area, and the water's so shallow and turquoise, it feels like you're walking on air.
It sounds magical, but I've also heard it gets super crowded. Any tips for avoiding the masses?
Elefantisi is definitely popular. Best bet is to arrive early in the morning or later in the afternoon when it's less busy. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, explore some of the smaller coves and inlets around the main beach. You might find your own little private paradise.
Private pink sand beach. A girl can dream. Right, beaches aside, what else makes the south coast of Crete special?
It's a region with a ton of history. If you're into ancient sites, the archaeological site of Gortyn is a must-see. It was the Roman capital of Crete back in the day. And you can still see the remains of Roman baths, a theater, an early Christian basilica.
So we're talking about, walking through history, seeing ruins that are thousands of years old. That's pretty amazing. Anything else to see and do in Gortyn specifically?
One of the most fascinating things there is the law code of Gortyn. It's inscribed on these huge stone slabs, one of the oldest surviving examples of written law in Europe. Gives you a real glimpse into, the social and legal customs of ancient Crete.
Wow, that's incredible. The law code of Gortyn. All right, history buffs, take note. Now, I know Crete is famous for its charming villages. What about on the south coast? Any of that stand out?
Spili is a great one. It's a traditional mountain village, beautiful Venetian fountain, lively square. perfect spot for a coffee or a meal under the shade of those plane trees.
Spilly, Mountain Village, Venetian Fountain, I can picture it. Any other villages worth checking out on the south coast?
If you want amazing views, Plakias is a good choice. It's on a hillside overlooking the Libyan Sea, and it's a great base for exploring the beaches and coves nearby.
Okay, so Spilly for charm, Plakias for views. I'm getting a sense of the variety. Now, let's switch gears a bit. What about sailing? I know a lot of people dream of, island hopping through Greece on a sailboat. Is that actually doable?
Oh, absolutely. Sailing the Greek island is an incredible way to see the country. And the great thing is there are options for, every budget and experience level.
Okay, so break it down for me. If I've never sailed before, where do I even start?
Joining a flotilla is a great option for beginners. It's basically a group of boats that sail together, led by an experienced crew. So you get the freedom of, sailing your own boat, but you've got support and guidance.
So I'm not just like thrown into the deep end.
Exactly. The lead crew will help you with everything: navigation, anchoring, finding the best spots for swimming and snorkeling. Plus, it's a great way to meet other people who love sailing.
Okay, so there's a social aspect to it too. I like that. Now, what about for those who are, say, a little more experienced or who want something more luxurious? What are their options?
Chartering a yacht is definitely a step up in terms of luxury and privacy. You pick the boat that fits your needs and your budget, and you're free to create your own itinerary.
So I'm the captain of my own destiny, sailing the Aegean. That sounds pretty amazing, but I'm guessing it's not exactly cheap.
Yacht charters can be expensive, yeah, especially if you want a big boat with a crew. But there are more affordable options out there, especially if you're willing to sail during the shoulder seasons.
Okay, so maybe not in my budget right now, but definitely a goal. Now, what about those of us who are somewhere in between? Not a total beginner, but not ready to charter a yacht just yet.
A catamaran cruise is a great option then. Catamarans are very stable, spacious, very comfortable, and there are tons of companies that offer these cruises around the Greek islands, so you can pick an itinerary that, works for you.
Catamaran cruise, I like the sound of that. Comfortable, spacious, and I'm assuming someone else is doing the navigating.
Exactly. You can relax, enjoy the views, soak up the sun, let the crew handle the rest.
Okay, I'm sold. Now, with so many islands, where do you even begin when planning a sailing trip?
The Cyclades are a classic choice. Mykonos, Santorini, Paros, stunning scenery, charming villages, great nightlife. But if you want something more off the beaten path, the Ionian Islands are amazing. Very lush, crystal clear water, more laid-back atmosphere.
So, Cyclades for the classic experience, Ionian for something more chill. Great options. Now, I imagine sailing can be pretty active. What about those days when you just want to relax and soak up the island vibes?
That's the beauty of sailing. You have the flexibility to do whatever you want. You can spend a day exploring a village, hiking to a viewpoint, or just relaxing on a beach. And of course, you have to sample the local cuisine.
Speaking of food, what are some must-try dishes for a Greek sailing adventure?
When in Greece, you got to try moussaka. It's a delicious layered eggplant and meat dish. And souvlaki, grilled skewers of meat, served with pita bread and tzatziki sauce. And of course, you can't forget the fresh seafood. Grilled octopus, fried calamari, fresh fish. So good.
Okay, my mouth is watering. What about drinks? What are some refreshing beverages to enjoy while sailing those Greek islands?
A classic Greek frappe is always a good choice. That's a refreshing iced coffee drink. And for something a little stronger, ouzo is a traditional Greek anise-flavored aperitif. And of course, there are always tons of local wines to try.
Greek frappe, ouzo, local wine. Noted. Now, for someone who's, thinking about a Greek sailing adventure, any essential tips or advice?
Yeah, definitely do your research and figure out what kind of sailing trip works best for you, your budget, all that. And don't forget to pack for all kinds of weather because things can change quickly out on the water. Even on sunny days, bring a light jacket, a hat, sunscreen. Those are essentials.
Great advice. Now, before we move on from our exploration of Greek getaways, I want to talk about sustainable travel. It's something that's really important to me. With so many tourists visiting Greece every year, what can we do to, minimize our impact, make sure these beautiful places stay that way for future generations?
Sustainable travel is so important. It's all about making choices that are good for, both the traveler and the destination, respecting the environment, the local culture, the economy of the places we visit.
Okay, so let's get practical. What are some things our listeners can do to be more sustainable travelers in Greece?
One of the simplest things is to reduce our use of single-use plastics. Bring your own reusable water bottle, a coffee cup, a shopping bag. And when you're eating out, try to choose places that use, biodegradable or compostable packaging.
Okay, so ditch the plastic, choose reusable. Check. What about transportation? Getting around those islands, I imagine there are a lot of ferries, taxis.
Definitely. Whenever possible, choose public transport over taxis or rental cars. The bus systems on a lot of the islands are actually really good and affordable. And if you do need to rent a car, go for a fuel-efficient model. And for those island hops, Think about taking a slower ferry instead of a high-speed one. Slower ferries tend to have a smaller carbon footprint.
So public transport over taxis, fuel-efficient rentals, slower ferries. Got it. Now, what about respecting the local culture? Any advice there?
Learning even a few basic green phrases goes a long way. It shows respect, and it can be really helpful if you're in a situation where, English isn't spoken. Even a simple calavera, good morning, or ifaristo, thank you, can make a difference.
Okay, a little language learning goes a long way. And when you're visiting those religious sites, what's the etiquette?
Dress modestly, follow the local customs. For example, in a lot of churches, women are expected to cover their shoulders and knees.
Respectful attire check. Now, how about supporting the local economy? What can we do there?
Whatever you can, choose locally owned accommodations, restaurants, shops. That way your tourist dollars are going back into the community. And think about buying souvenirs directly from local artisans. You're supporting traditional crafts, and the money stays within the community.
Support local, got it. Any other tips for being a responsible traveler in Greece?
Be mindful of your water usage, especially on the islands where water can be scarce. Shorter showers, don't leave the tap running. And be respectful of the environment, of course. Don't litter and stick to marked trails when you're hiking.
All great advice. Now, I want to touch on something that's often overlooked when we talk about travel, the importance of truly disconnecting and immersing ourselves in the experience. It's so easy to get caught up in social media, emails, work, even when we're on vacation.
Absolutely. But when we disconnect from technology, when we're truly present in the moment, that's when we can really appreciate the beauty of the places we visit.
So true. So for our listeners who are planning that Greek getaway, any tips for disconnecting, embracing that slow travel experience?
Think about leaving your laptop at home and just use your phone for the essentials like navigation or communication. Instead of scrolling through social media, take the time to really savor the scenery, talk to the locals, just be present.
Okay, so ditch the laptop, limit the phone, be present. I like it. What are some activities that really encourage that mindfulness, that connection with nature, in Greece specifically?
Greece is a hiker's paradise. The Samaria Gorge in Crete, the trails of Mount Olympus. So many options to explore the country's natural beauty. And if hiking's not your thing, there are tons of scenic coastal walks, charming villages to discover.
Hiking, coastal walks, charming villages. That sounds like my kind of vacation. Any other tips for embracing that slow travel philosophy?
Instead of rushing from place to place, consider spending more time in one spot. You can really connect with the local culture, find those hidden gems. It's a more meaningful experience. Rent an apartment, shop at the local markets, get a feel for the rhythm of life there.
Slow down, stay in one place, really immerse yourself. I love that.
And for a truly unique and rewarding experience, think about incorporating some volunteerism into your trip. Lots of organizations in Greece offer volunteer opportunities, everything from environmental conservation to working with refugees.
Volunteerism in Greece. That's a great idea. Now, I know we've been talking a lot about the islands, but what about mainland Greece? What are some must-see destinations on the mainland?
The mainland is just as incredible as the islands. Stunning mountains, ancient ruins, charming villages, vibrant cities. And because it's less popular with tourists, you can often find better deals.
So mainland Greece is a bit more off the beaten path, a bit more affordable. I'm intrigued. Where should we start?
If you're into history and mythology, you have to see Delphi. It was considered the center of the world back in ancient Greek times, home to the Oracle of Delphi.
Delphi, the center of the world. Okay, tell me more. What makes it so special?
People would travel from all over to seek guidance from the oracle, who was believed to channel prophecies from the god Apollo. Today, you can visit the ruins of the Temple of Apollo, the theater, the stadium, and all these other ancient structures.
So it was a major religious and political center. People came to seek answers to life's big questions. That's powerful. What are some highlights of visiting Delphi today?
The Temple of Apollo is a must-see. Even in ruins, you can still feel how grand it must have been. The theater is incredible, too, built into the hillside with these amazing views. And the Delphi Archaeological Museum is worth checking out. It's got an impressive collection of artifacts from the site, including the famous bronze charioteer of Delphi.
Okay, the Temple of Apollo, the theater, the museum. Got it. Now, we've been talking about ancient Greece, but I know that's also a lot of Byzantine history in the country. What are some must-see Byzantine sites?
You can't talk about Byzantine history without mentioning the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. It was once the largest cathedral in the world, masterpiece of Byzantine architecture. Of course, Istanbul's not part of Greece anymore, but it was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, and the Hagia Sophia is a reminder of that history.
The Hagia Sophia is definitely on my travel bucket list, but what about sites within Greece itself?
The monasteries of Meteora are incredible. They're built on top of these towering rock formations. It's like they defy gravity. They were built by monks seeking solitude and spiritual retreat, and the views are just stunning.
Meteora. Monasteries on cliffs. Okay, that's going on the list. What's the best way to experience them?
You can visit several of the monasteries. They each have their own unique history and atmosphere. Some are easier to get to than others, with stairs or paths carved into the rock. But be ready for a climb. Some of them are pretty high up.
Okay, challenge accepted. Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on specific destinations, but let's talk about food. What are some must-try dishes in mainland Greece?
Mainland Greek cuisine is known for being hearty and flavorful. Lots of fresh, local ingredients. You have to try pastitsio. It's a baked pasta dish with ground meat and bechamel sauce. And spanakopita, a savory pastry filled with spinach and feta cheese. And of course, no trip to Greece is complete without a gyro.
Pastizio, spanakopita, gyro. I'm getting hungry just listening. Now, we talked about voluntourism earlier. What are some examples of volunteer opportunities in Greece? What kind of things could people get involved in?
There are so many organizations doing great work in Greece. You could help with environmental conservation efforts on the islands, work with refugees in Athens, or even assist with archaeological excavations.
So there's really something for everyone. And what are the benefits of volunteering while you're traveling?
It's a great way to give back to the communities you're visiting, learn new skills, and really get a deeper understanding of the culture. Plus, it's a fantastic way to meet new people.
I love that. All right, let's switch gears again and talk about something a little different. Greek festivals. What's the festival scene like in Greece?
Greece has a long tradition of festivals, celebrating everything from religious holidays to harvest seasons to the arts. It's a great way to experience the local culture.
Okay, so Greek festivals. Give me some highlights. Which one should I put on my calendar?
If you're there in February or March, the Carnival of Patras is one of the biggest and most famous carnivals in Greece. Parades, costumes, music, dancing. It's a huge party.
Carnival in Greece. That sounds amazing. What about something a little more artistic?
The Kalamata International Dance Festival is incredible. It happens every summer in Kalamata, and they have dance performances from all over the world.
Okay, so carnival for the party people, dance festival for the art lovers. What about religious festivals?
Greek Easter is a major celebration with processions, special foods, fireworks. And if you're there in August, the Dormition of the Virgin Mary is another important holiday with celebrations all over the country.
Okay, religious festivals are a big deal in Greece. Now let's talk about something a bit more practical and maybe a concern for some travelers. Safety. Is Greece a safe country to travel in?
Generally, Greece is very safe. Of course, like anywhere, you need to be aware of your surroundings, take basic precautions to protect yourself from theft or scams. But overall, it's a very welcoming and safe country for tourists.
That's good to know. Now let's talk about getting around Greece. What are the transportation options?
Greece has a pretty good transportation system. Ferries connect the islands, and there are buses and trains on the mainland. Renting a car is popular too, especially if you want to explore at your own pace.
Okay, so ferries, buses, trains, rental cars. I'm seeing lots of options. Any tips for getting around?
If you're traveling by ferry, book your tickets ahead of time, especially during peak season. And if you're renting a car, just be aware that driving in Greece can be a bit challenging, especially in the cities. The roads can be narrow and winding, and the drivers can be, well, a little aggressive.
Okay, good tips to keep in mind. Now, what about language? Do I need to speak Greek to travel in Greece?
You'll be fine with English, especially in the tourist areas. But it's always a good idea to learn a few basic Greek phrases. It shows respect, and it can be helpful in situations where English isn't spoken.
Okay, so English is fine, but a little Greek goes a long way. Now, what about tipping? What's the etiquette in Greece?
Tipping isn't as common or expected in Greece as it is in some other countries. But it's always appreciated, of course, especially for good service. A good rule of thumb is to round up the bill to the nearest euro or leave a few coins. In restaurants, 5–10% is normal for good service.
Okay, so tipping's appreciated, but not mandatory. All right, let's move on to something a little more fun. Shopping. What's it like shopping in Greece?
Greece is a great place to shop for souvenirs, local crafts, all sorts of things.
Okay, so what are some must-buy items? What should I be looking for?
Olive oil is a classic Greek souvenir. It's known for being high-quality, delicious flavor. You can find it everywhere: supermarkets, specialty shops, local markets.
Greek olive oil, check. What else?
Honey is another great one. Greek honey is known for its unique flavor and aroma. It depends on the region and the flowers, but it's really special.
Okay, olive oil, honey. What else should I add to my shopping list?
If you're looking for something unique, how about some traditional Greek pottery? You could find beautiful handmade ceramics all over Greece.
Pottery, check. Now, what about bargaining? Is that common in Greece? Any tips?
Bargaining isn't as common in Greece as it is in some other places, especially in regular shops. But at those open-air markets with street vendors, it's totally acceptable to haggle a bit. Just be respectful and don't be afraid to walk away if you're not happy with the price.
Good to know. Okay, we've talked about so many amazing destinations and experiences in Greece. But in the end, what do you think is the key to a truly memorable and meaningful trip to Greece?
That's a great question. I think it's about going beyond the typical tourist spots and really immersing yourself in the culture. Talk to the people, try the food, explore those hidden gems, and just embrace the adventure. Greece has such a rich history and a vibrant culture, and there's something magical about experiencing it firsthand.
I love that. So any final words of advice for our listeners who are planning their Greek getaway?
Do your research, pick the places and experiences that really call to you, and be open to new things. Greece has something for everyone, whether you're looking for relaxation, adventure, culture, history.
Well said. So what are you waiting for? Start planning your dream trip to Greece. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, happy travels. Talking about all these amazing places in Greece, it really hits you just how much history is everywhere you look.
Yeah, it's not just the beaches and islands, right? It's like a living museum. Thousands of years of history just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. So for history buffs like me, where do we even begin? What are the absolute must-see historical sites in Greece?
Well, you can't talk about Greek history without mentioning the Acropolis, right? It's iconic, a symbol of ancient Greece. Up on that rocky hill overlooking Athens. The Parthenon, the Erechtheion, the Propylaea.
Okay, the Acropolis is definitely on my list. But what makes it so special? I mean, there are ruins everywhere, but the Acropolis seems to have this, extra pull.
It's the history, but also the architecture. The Parthenon, it's a masterpiece. Those proportions, that design, people have been studying it for centuries. Plus, it's witnessed so much: wars, empires, the birth of democracy.
It's not just about the stones, it's about the stories they tell. What about other ancient sites?
Oh, there are tons. If you're into mythology, Mount Olympus is a must. The home of the Olympian gods. Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Athena.
Mount Olympus, wow. Okay, what's there to actually see? Are there, temples or ruins or anything like that?
Not on the mountain itself, no. But the whole place is just steeped in mythology. The ancient Greeks believed the gods lived up there on the highest peaks, and you can feel that, hiking through those forests, those valleys.
It's about the atmosphere, the connection to the stories. I like that. What about Delphi? We mentioned it earlier. What makes it so special?
Delphi was, well, they considered it the center of the world in ancient times. The Oracle of Delphi, the priestess who they believed channeled prophecies from Apollo. People would come from everywhere to seek her guidance.
So it was like a major hub, religious and political. People came looking for answers to life's big questions.
Exactly. And today you could visit the ruins of the Temple of Apollo, the theater, the stadium, all these ancient structures.
What are the highlights? What shouldn't I miss at Delphi?
Definitely the Temple of Apollo, even in ruins, it's impressive. And the theater, built into the hillside with those incredible views. Oh, and the Delphi Archaeological Museum, it's got a fantastic collection of artifacts. The bronze charioteer of Delphi is there. It's amazing.
The Temple of Apollo, the theater, the museum. Got it. Okay, we've talked about ancient Greece, but what about Byzantine history? Are there any must-see Byzantine sites?
You can't talk about Byzantine history without mentioning the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. It was the largest cathedral in the world at one point, just an incredible example of Byzantine architecture. Istanbul's not part of Greece anymore, of course, but it was the capital of the Byzantine Empire.
Right, the Hagia Sophia, that's on my list for sure. But what about within Greece itself?
The monasteries of Meteora are a must-see. They're built on these massive rock pillars. It's mind-blowing. Monks built them looking for solitude and spiritual retreat. And the views from up there are unbelievable.
Monasteries on cliffs. Okay, that's just too cool. How do you even experience them?
You can visit several of the monasteries. Each one has its own story and its own feel. Some are easier to reach than others, with stairs or paths carved into the rock. But be prepared for a bit of a climb. Some of them are pretty high up.
Okay, I'm always up for a good view. Now, before we wrap up this Greek adventure, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, disconnecting and really immersing ourselves in the experience. It's so hard to put the phone down these days.
I know, right? But when we disconnect from technology, we connect with the moment. That's how we really appreciate where we are.
Absolutely. So any final tips for our listeners? How can they embrace that slow travel experience in Greece?
Leave the laptop at home. Use your phone just for essentials. And instead of, scrolling through social media, take the time to really see the scenery, talk to people, just be there in the moment.
Great advice. It's so easy to get caught up in taking pictures and posting that we forget to actually experience it. What are some activities that really foster that mindfulness, that connection with nature in Greece?
Greece is perfect for hiking. The Samaria Gorge in Crete, the trails of Mount Olympus, incredible ways to see the natural beauty. And if you're not into hiking, there are coastal walks, beautiful villages.
Okay, hiking, walking, exploring villages. How else can we embrace that slow travel philosophy?
Stay in one place for a while instead of rushing around. Rent an apartment, go to the local markets, get to know the rhythm of life in a Greek town or village. You'll connect with the culture on a much deeper level.
Slow down, immerse yourself. That's what it's all about. Any final words of wisdom before we say goodbye to Greece?
Embrace the unexpected. Greece is full of surprises, hidden beaches, ancient ruins, chance encounters with friendly locals. Don't be afraid to go off the beaten path. You never know what you might find.
I love that. Embrace the unexpected. Perfect advice for any trip, but especially for Greece. Well, listeners, I hope you're feeling inspired to start planning your own Greek adventure. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic. Until then, happy travels. CAT or